some shoes on a catwalk. Okay. My first show I ever opened was the same week in 2013. It was the Jeremy Scott show. And he gave me so much confidence and made me feel so good. And I feel like from then I've been getting better. So thanks, Jeremy. I love you. You know what's hard? Walking like you walk in shoes with your feet. I mean, with your hands.
Now, in the vein of Sydney Bristow, my character in Alias, I'm gonna work on some wigs with some brushes. I wore wigs like this purple one for 5 years, squeezing my brains, getting all sweaty while I ran around and fought bad guys. But it was fun anyway. Sometimes a little discomfort is worth it. This wig reminds me of Ronald McDonald or Sunkissed. If you're scared of clowns, wipe that one out of your mind, because it's time for a nice sleep, right? Okay. We're gonna try a different brush on this beautiful wig for ghosts. I wore a wig that was blonde and chin length, and when I wore it I was Swedish and I had blue contacts. And it wasn't just that I loved the wig, I wanted to be that girl. Okay. involves Annie losing her purple pen and subsequently losing her mind. But here I've drawn Annie and Jeff in hearts because Annie had a crush on Jeff, and also because I'm terrible at drawing. Now I'm gonna talk about perfume. I love making perfumes. I'm definitely the perfume queen. I think it's the most important accessory because it's something that people always will remember you by. My newest fragrance is called Platinum Rush. It smells so amazing. I wanted people to feel confident and beautiful and happy and gorgeous when they wear it. So that's exactly what it does. This is my 24th fragrance. It's called Platinum Rush. The bottle is usually cuter, but I lost the top in the car right over here. I'm scratching the bottle of Platinum Rush. It's really glittery. Can you hear that? Can you smell that? I bet you can smell it through the computer. It smells so good. Yes. This has been ASMR.
And as you can see, it's just a regular keyboard. Can you hear that? Kind of against my nails. We have a keyboard because in this movie, Vanellope and Ralph venture into cyberspace. And we go on the internet and looking for a steering wheel, but we find ourselves.
All of the fight scenes you saw, I did, and you only got to see about 25% of what we shot because there is still 75% more badass fight scene somewhere at Fox that they didn't use, but it's awesome. Now, to represent the sound of Psylocke, terrible at matches. I'm surprised I did that in one try.
It's like I'm DJing a really sick set. So, I have always thought that the colour purple happens to be a rather royal colour. So I've always thought that it's a beautiful colour to try and keep on you wherever you go, to remind you that even if you don't think you have royal lineage, you still are quite royal. I think that the colour purple happens to be one of the most beautiful colours in the spectrum, because it's made up of blue and red, two of my favourite colours. So I guess purple is both of them in one.